Good morning, everyone. I am really happy to be here. My name is Frank Romero, and it's been a long time, I think, for me to get to this stage. It's been almost 10 years that I've been putting math videos online, but this one is my first uh, live stream math session. But it's not going to be a math lesson, it's going to be more about utilizing Doceri and how I want to use it for live streaming via YouTube, but not in the sense of the pedagogy behind using Doceri in the classroom, but how to set the hardware and the software so that I can use Doceri in live streaming via YouTube. And it's the technology has gotten much better in terms of portability and affordability so that somebody can do something like this at home. And that's the exciting part. Schools do have hardware and software available for you and training. But I want to be I want to have my own setup so that I can travel anywhere and do these types of demonstrations. So keep that in mind that at the universities or at your schools, there are probably systems, hardware, software packages that you're able to do something like this. But for those enthusiastic people that want to have their own setup, this is for you. Okay, so so one great thing about Doceri is that I can have my content kind of like laid out in a timeline, and I can uh, do my presentation. It's kind of like a fancy PowerPoint presentation that's been timed, but I can control that through some buttons on the Doceri platform. Okay, so let me tell you the setup here. So I have a laptop that is running a piece of software called OBS. Now, OBS is a free software package that allows you to stream to YouTube. Not only that, it controls many of the media components that you might have. For example, this camera. It will, with a click of a button, I can go from this camera to my demonstration on my iPad. And then I also have other things connected here, like there's a video that I want to show you in a little bit, or if I click that button, it will run a video. So there are many, it's able to control many of my media components, which is awesome. Now, OBS is not the only company that you can do this. This piece of software is not the only company that sells this type of piece of software. There is Wirecast that you can also look into. Their Wirecast Play is free, and you can remove their watermark for $10. But you can't put many video sources or content sources on it. But it's affordable, and it might work for you. Okay, so I have OBS installed on my MacBook, and it's wireless, so it's transmitting all this content wirelessly to YouTube. When I started OBS, the first time I opened OBS, it told me, hey, how about if we look into your system, see how fast it is, and how much content we can pump out of it. And it turned out that the best setting for my machine is 960 by 540 at 1800 kilobits. And that's how it's set up. Right now, I can see my CPU is the load is 18% at 30 frames per second, and it's pumping out about 2,000 kilobits per second, which is not bad. And if right now I'm going to look at my YouTube page here, it says it's 5 minutes into it, and I have nobody's watching. That's fine. And I have a orange live dot. I know that if it's green, it's running. If it's orange, it's probably, I don't know what orange means, an orange dot. I can assume that it just means that I'm doing okay, not great. Okay. And this is the key to make this happen. It's an Ultra Studio mini recorder from Blackmagic, and I'll show you a picture of it or a movie in a little bit. That's connected through Thunderbolt, and this piece of hardware is about anywhere from $130 to $150. This allows me to convert the signals out of my iPad or whatever is displayed on the iPad to OBS. And so I have an iPad that's running Doceri right now. As you can see, this thing that you see on the screen is Doceri, and it has a dongle. The dongle is a Lightning to HDMI, because I connect the HDMI from the dongle from the iPad to the mini recorder. So this allows me to whatever content you see on the iPad, the Blackmagic will convert it so that the iPad and the OBS software can read it, so it can transmit onto the web. Pretty amazing piece of hardware. And then another thing that I have is the Blue Yeti, and that's connected via USB to the laptop. One thing that I'm really liking about the Blue Yeti is that it sounds very nice. I'm really am happy with the quality. I've had several different types of USB microphones, and this one has not disappointed me. And I can use this. I can also use the Blue Yeti to my iPad, and then also record my content in Doceri using the Blue Yeti. That's a different conversation. So this is what I need. Everything here is lightweight, portable. It fits easily in a bag, and I can be anywhere in the world as long as I have a strong signal. Right now, again, I'm using about 2,000 kilobits per second, which is not a lot. My phone through T-Mobile, I do a lot more than 2,000 kilobits per second. So that's going to be something that I really want to do. I'm going to see if I can do that one day somewhere, maybe at the park or at the beach. Who knows? It might work. Okay, but the point here is that I have my little studio here at home. And one thing I'm trying to remember is going back and forth, and forgive me if I only see the screen, not you, because you got to get used to that, looking directly to the camera, which is a little bit weird. But the whole point on this video, this live stream, is just to point out, some of the things that you're going to need at home so that you can run Doceri, and if you want to run Doceri live, right? So what I'm going to do here is go back to this. And so what I want to do is I want to give you, now I'm going to use OBS to show you a video that I did before I started doing this live. And what I'm going to do is, if I had another mini recorder, I would love to do that live, but I can't, so I don't have another mini recorder piece of hardware. So I used my I used my X100F, and I recorded something. Well, this whole setup right here, iPad, computer, and whatever. And then I took the SD card and I put the SD card on the MacBook. And then I told OBS, hey, run that movie file. And so I'm going to be very interested to see if the quality of the live stream changes, because the quality of the X100F, which is a Fuji mirrorless camera, the content when it records, it's really nice, not too much noise. And I can see right now there are some noise patterns that are happening over here, and it's going to be very interesting after the live demonstration just to see how it looks. Okay, so let's run that video. So here's my iPad ready to go. It's an iPad Pro, and I can use a pencil with that. And you just saw the adapter pass by very quickly, and that's the mini recorder connecting HDMI to Thunderbolt, and then the Thunderbolt goes to the MacBook. And right there you can see the OBS software. Behind it you can sort of see the desktop video setup panel for the mini recorder. Then I connect the Yeti via USB. So you can see that all the components are put together. The computer is the main piece to making everything run together. And one cool thing about Doceri, as you probably already know, is that you can just press the button so that you can run your timeline, which is really neat. That's just a little demonstration. If you've never used it, you should look into it, especially if you teach in the sciences. And then right here you can see it as I press the button on Doceri. I can run my demonstration, which I was doing just a few minutes ago. One other thing about Doceri is that it has again a timeline, and then you can scrub the timeline and go to any point in the demonstration that you want. And that's something that I really do like. Right now, my computer is going at 40%. That's probably because it's getting a little warm here. That's something that I have to consider and think about. It's not right now. Everything's running by battery power. The laptop is running the Yeti, is running the mini recorder, and the mini recorder does get kind of warm. And let's see if I can show you that. See, this guy right here does tend to be warm, so it's draining the battery from the MacBook. Now let's go back to the iPad, and let me tell you that Doceri is not the only program out there that is considered kind of like a whiteboard. This one is Notability. This is not a whiteboard applications per se. This is more note-taking. But there are many pieces of software that you will be able to use in this type of setup. So don't think Doceri is the only one that you can utilize. One wonderful thing about Notability is that you can type your notes, and then also the ability to write on this is really nice. Much nicer than Doceri. The writing engine is way different. So just keep in mind that Doceri is not the only program that you can run this live streaming demonstration. So let's talk about why live streaming why do live streaming for educators, right? Or for education. That's pretty neat. So let's see. Why use live streaming for education, right? Well, the big thing is that I can have very large audiences. And for example, I can have a live tutoring session anywhere in the world. So if you are an instructor who, for example, does a lot of online courses, you might have hundreds of students, or even let's say you had a MOOC or something and you wanted to maybe do a demonstration. This is a perfect setup, especially if you're traveling you're traveling as you're teaching. That's the beautiful thing about online teaching, is that you don't have to be, at school, using their hardware or using their network. You can be at the library at some obscure city that has great internet connection. So one thing again, tutoring. You could be tutoring live, and you can be answering questions, because there is a chat tool in YouTube, and I should be checking that. Oh, there's one person watching. Okay, let's move on. Live lesson, right? You can do a live lesson to hundreds of students at one time, which is something that is exciting. Again, you don't have to be at school, but you can be at home doing your lessons. And the great thing is that all the lessons are recorded for free in YouTube. So you don't have to worry about converting the video, editing the video. As long as the stream is healthy and connected via YouTube while you're doing the live streaming, then you don't have to worry about converting the video or taking out the disk and giving it to someone else or transferring it to some other program or whatever. It does it automatically. So there is no need for a third person, second person to help you out. And then office hours. One thing about that I like about doing things online is that you can have office hours anywhere and almost any time. So one wonderful thing about this program is this type of setup is that you can be, let's say in the summer you're teaching a course online and you need to do office hours. That's great. You can still have your vacation. You can be in some remote area as long as you have internet connection, and you can do your office hours very easily. And it doesn't have to be via text, like through email. It could be live. You can have your students log in, and then they can ask you questions. And that's a beautiful thing, especially if you are doing math or science. And then, why use Doceri? It's a very good question. It's the only platform that I know of that allows for scripted control timelines of content on the iPad. You see, one thing about Doceri that I really like that I haven't found in other pieces of software is that you can write your content and it's recording it, and then you can have markers where you can stop, where the Doceri will stop when you play it back, and you can scrub your content, which I really love. I mean, you can go back to a place where a student might say, hey, can we talk about when you were talking about the MacBook? Sure, here we go. Let me scrub it to that point. And then I can scrub back to the point where we were talking or something. And it allows me to be more focused on the student instead of me more focusing on the content and making sure it's correct. So going back to my face here. This live streaming was more about, the hardware, right? You need a mini recorder, the Blackmagic mini recorder, and one thing there are other hardware components that you can buy other than the Blackmagic's ultrasound mini recorder. Do your research, see if you can find something else that might be cheaper. But so far, that has been very satisfying. Also, you don't need a Blue Yeti. You can have the microphone that's built into the MacBook, or even to your Surface. Let's say you have a Surface. You can have the Surface run the OBS. You can have two surfaces connected to each other, because there's OneNote in Microsoft's OneNote that you can use on the Surface, that you can write notes and so forth. So, and I'm pretty sure you might even be able to use one tablet, because I think there's a way where you can demonstrate the desktop or another application. I'm pretty sure that you can. So you don't have to have two. You don't have to have the mini recorder for that. You can just use the Surface, use the camera so that it can see you, and then you can go and switch in OBS to some program. Then you can start writing, and that would be a good demonstration actually. And I might be doing that in the future, just to see if you can have maybe just one device. Because, the Yeti, the iPad, the Ultra Studio mini recorder, all the cables, and the laptop, that might be a lot to carry. But if it's on the Surface and I'm able to switch within the Surface, and then using something like OneNote, that might be a solution. So this is just to give you an idea of what are some of the components that you need, and does it really look good? Is it feasible, usable? And I think it is. I think definitely you'll see me more. Please subscribe to my channel. It's on this side, right? I think it's on that side. So please subscribe, put a thumbs up, and I will be seeing you very soon.